Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, My Social Thread. My name's Crystal, and today I have another interview for you. It's with Kayleigh of Fleur et Hers, or translated Flower and Bear. And Kayleigh talks about her love of fabric design, working with artists, collaborating with print designers. She also talks about her love for zero waste sewing. I hope you enjoy this interview. Without further ado, I'll put it on. Thank you. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, My Social Thread. So today we're joined by Kayleigh of Fleur et Hers. Hello Kayleigh, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, lovely. I'm very well, thank you. So thank you very much for joining us. We thought we would just ask, well, some of my viewers would love to know a little bit more about you. And what we found actually in my previous interviews is that they find it very kind of eye-opening to meet the face behind the shop, I think, and it's just always interesting just to see the face and the personality behind the stores that we love so much. Kat, where do I start? Who came up with the name?
I did. I
You
came up
did?
with the name.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was just so the name comes from my children,
Uh-huh.
Emily Iris and Rupert. So Iris being the flower and Rupert being the bear. I thought that the English flower and bear wasn't quite as good as the French, and when I was younger I used to do a lot of languages, and French being one of my passions, so it was nice to go back to that.
Oh,
So I don't get to speak it as much anymore. Complete novice now really, but I liked having flirters, flower and bear. Yeah.
oh, that's so lovely. And where are you based at the moment?
I'm in Essex, so I'm on the coast in Essex. Yeah.
And you are
Yeah.
just an online store at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to one day have a bricks and mortar shop. That would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, the online shop is ideal to work around just life at the moment, really. Yeah, so
Of course, yeah. And
definitely.
who runs the store day to day, your online store day to day? Is it yourself? Do you have any helpers, any staff?
It's just
No.
me. Well,
Oh, well done
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I mean,
Mummy.
my partner Chris, he helps with the website and stuff because I'm not that technically minded, I have to admit. Yeah. Had a little bit of an issue with the Zoom starting off. That was entirely my fault because I'm not really that technical. Yeah, so it's just me that does all the orders, updates the website, talks to everybody, does my social media and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Oh, and how long have you been running for, Kayleigh?
Since January, February last year.
Oh, so it's
Um,
a lockdown business.
It is, yeah, it's a lockdown business. So it actually kind of initially started as a bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing because I've got a bit of fabric addiction.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I could start a fabric shop and that would help with my fabric addiction. Um, and I didn't want to go back to what I was working before.
Hmm.
So I knew that I wanted a change of career. And then Chris was kind of like, well, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
And so I just went for it. So yeah,
Ah, that's so nice that he's very supportive, because I think everybody needs the support from their loved ones, isn't it, in order to achieve a dream, open up a business or what have you. So that's
yeah,
amazing. Can I ask
yeah,
what you used to do for work, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah. No, that's fine. I was the very exciting job. I was an accountant.
Ah,
So,
well, that's
so
very good for sort of starting your own business, right? Because at least you know all the basics and everything else, filling in your tax returns and all this. And
yeah, that is really handy. But I also know how to tell myself off as well for like, really, do you need to be buying that extra bit of fabric, profit and loss and all that? But yeah, but it's definitely helpful to be able to at least start yourself off with knowing how to set your accounts out and stuff like that.
of
Yeah.
course. Do you know, you're the second accountant that I know that's changed from being an accountant to a fabric store owner. I don't know if you know Jenny Stitch's Fabrics.
No, I don't. I'll have to get in
Put you two
touch.
in contact.
Yes.
She she used to be a chartered accountant a couple of years ago, and she left that job. She has two or three children. She left that job to open up a fabric store. So you're in
Brilliant.
company.
Great minds, yeah.
Exactly. And did you always want to open up a business, sort of growing up? Did you think, I want to be, I want to work for myself and do?
No. So it's ironic really, because so when I was growing up, my mum had her own businesses, and I saw how hard she had to work. And I do get a lot of inspiration from her. She was a very strong woman, and yeah, she ran her own businesses. She looked after 3 kids on her own, etc., etc. But I was very much like, I'm not going to do that. I am not going to have my own business because it takes so much work. And then I then went into the world of accountancy, which actually, funny enough, she was in the world of accountancy, and again I was like, I was never going to be an accountant, and I fell into accountancy. And yeah, I kind of dabbled with having my own businesses from quite a young age, really. And I then found that actually I find it easier to run my own business in terms of working with other people. I can be I don't know what the right word is for it. It's not headstrong, because I do work really well with other people. I think it's just because I'm quite introverted. So I like to have my own space and things like that. So yeah. So that's how I kind of fell into having my own business. I was like, I'm happy in my own company, so that's how it works quite nicely. Yeah.
Lovely. And presumably the business started as because you for your love of fabric, and that stemmed from presumably your love of sewing.
Yes, yeah. It's kind of it's like a happy culmination of lots of different things. I obviously from sewing, but also just surface pattern designs, the fabrics themselves. So I mean, I've always kind of dabbled with sewing, and it was something that kind of it grew very naturally. And yeah, I think my love of fabric actually might have come
Before.
earlier.
Oh,
Well,
really?
yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, I've sewn ever since I can remember. Like when I was little, I did ballet, so I had to sew my own ribbons and my elastics and costumes and all sorts, And then when I was a teenager, I got one of those mini sewing machines.
Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then and then obviously eventually upgraded to a proper sewing machine. But I think it's the artwork that goes into the fabrics that I appreciate the most. Yeah, that's a really big attraction
Do
to me.
you design your own fabrics, or
No, I don't. I mean,
something that fascinates you, that interests you, as it were?
yeah, I mean, if I had all the time in the world, then it would definitely be something that I would love to get involved in. But at the moment, my priority is running the business and looking after the babies. So it's a case of, I've got goals in mind for the future, but yeah, it'll be great to do it one day.
Yeah. And how do you run a successful business with 2 young children in tow? How does it work? What does your normal day look like? Busy.
Sometimes it is pretty hectic, yeah. Sometimes it can involve answering emails at 6:30 in the morning from bed whilst entertaining 2 littlies or something. But then it can be it really just it fits in if they go to nursery or whatever, then I fit it in then. Or it can sometimes be I had a really hard day with the kids and don't sit down to start work until 9:30 at night. But that's just, I love doing this. It is my passion, and it does make me happy, so that's what I carry on with. So yeah,
Great. So
it is hectic.
yeah, sorry. So on top of that as well, you have a blog. How often
Yeah.
how often do you put content on for the blog? Because that's another job in itself, isn't it? Sort of, thinking of topics to write about, editing it, having it all.
Yeah, so the blog's really new actually. I wanted to I mean, it was a plan from the get-go, really. Like, everybody enjoys talking about what they're sewing. Like, I mean, it's so helpful to be able to read and hear and talk about other people's journeys. Everybody has little bits they stumble upon, little tips and tricks, and just style ideas as well. That's why Instagram is so good, because you can get such inspiration, and the community is just fantastic. So the blog idea was always a thing to do, but it started this year. And I mean, I've got so many ideas that I want to put on the blog, but again, it just comes down to time. And my priority is to definitely, like, it's the fabrics. So when I get round to the blog, then I get round to the blog. But in the meantime, it is fabrics all the way. But little things that I want to touch upon is definitely mums who sew, or parents who sew, because there's a lot of us, or even grandparents that sew. There's a lot of people that sew for littlies. So yeah, just touching upon that and how you structure it into your normal everyday life, because everybody really has a 9 to 5 and they sew outside of that. So I'd really like to collaborate with a lot of other people as well to get their side as well.
Like, in terms of guest bloggers, you mean, that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely, because as I said earlier, the community is just amazing. And working with other people and getting other people's stories, it is reassuring in some respects. You think, oh, I thought I was the only body that struggled with this particular part, or I didn't get any sewing done this week. Does this mean, am I failing in comparison to everybody else that's on Instagram? And the next person will be like, you're fine. But sometimes you just need that. Yeah, you need that. You need to have good friends, don't you?
And with regards to your website, I also had a look. Do you release a newsletter? Is that like a quite a frequent newsletter that you release?
Yeah, so I am trying to get one out every fortnight. I don't like to do it weekly because I feel like I'm harassing people. This is probably my downside, is that I really worry that I'm annoying people if I shout about my business too much. It's like, Kayleigh, that's what you're meant to do. But I like to keep it to fortnightly, because then I feel like it's a happy medium. Some people like to have a newsletter once a month. Some like to have one every week. Some people like to have it even more. But I'm keeping it fortnightly at the moment. And it tends to consist of new releases that we have, pre-ordering, any challenges that we're involved in, sponsoring, giveaways, because we also do this thing where if you use the hashtag #FleurAirs on Instagram, then you're automatically included in a giveaway, which I try and hold quarterly, but it really depends on how many people have gotten around to being able to sew using fabric from the business, or buttons or whatever. So I try and keep it fair. If there's like 2 people that have had a chance to have it, then it's not going to happen yet. But yeah, so there's lots involved in the newsletter, and it's just a nice chance to be able to feel like I'm having a conversation with all the people that have interacted with the business. So
and do you think social media is obviously a big part of promoting the business? Do you find that you're okay with that, like Instagram? Do you enjoy posting on Instagram and that sort of thing? Yeah,
I do. I really enjoy using Instagram. I did go through a phase where I was doing quite a few reels, which I really enjoyed doing, and then Instagram did a little bit of an update, and I had a couple of mishaps, and I was like, right, okay, gonna leave it for a little while. I've lost my flow. But I love Instagram. I love Instagram for seeing what everybody else has made as well.
Like you said, it's such an inspiration, because, for example, a pattern that comes up, like for me, for example, the Tilly and the Buttons pearl cardigan, I saw that and I thought that's not my cup of tea. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
use that pattern, although I pretty much have all of Tilly's patterns.
Mm.
And then, you know, after probably a couple of months, I'm seeing all these. And then a lady, actually, it was Jenny again from Jenny Stitches Fabrics. She made this really, really lovely cardigan, and that swayed me. And I was like, right, I'm going to buy that pattern now and I'm going to make it, because it's right. It looks different on every body shape, fabric
That's
choice,
it.
everything else. And that's the beauty of
Yeah.
Instagram, like you say, inspiration. So
Yeah, that is exactly it.
can I
Yeah.
ask, Kayleigh, how do you choose your fabric, like for your shop? How does it work for you?
Mm,
Do you have like
uh,
suppliers? Do they contact
okay.
contact
Um,
people?
so I have set suppliers that I use. And same as I send out newsletters, they'll send out newsletters to me. But I'm pretty keen. So, you know, there'll be like, it depends what it is that I'm ordering. So the quilting cottons, I am super keen with those, and I am on there pre-ordering as soon as I can. You know, I like to plan it out as well. This is probably the accountant coming out in me. Like, I like to know what I'm getting when I'm getting it, so I can sort out cash flow. The dressmaking fabrics, that's a bit more tricky in the fact that it's you can't really pre-order those as much. It's kind of like, you know, they're out when they're out. And so I have to be a bit more strict on that, like give myself a budget and just ignore the websites when I don't have the budget, basically, because otherwise I would be on there and I would be trying to buy everything all the time, and I just that's not how a business is meant to be run.
Of course, yeah.
So I have fixed wholesalers that I use, and yeah, go from there basically.
And with regard to the wholesalers, is it sort of like, I don't know, like how many are there in the U? Is it in the UK, your suppliers? Are your suppliers in the UK?
Yeah, so I've only
How many are there, like, you know, in the UK as such? Like, does, you know, is it there like only 10 and everybody kind of, you know, scrambles to get from there, or is there loads?
No, I mean, to be honest, I'm discovering new ones every day. But I mean, I personally, it also comes down to things like I might just get my thread from one wholesaler. There's loads of wholesalers, but I just get one from one.
Yeah.
And then there's two that I properly use for my quilting cottons. But there are more there. But then you start to, there are a few more that are UK based, and then you start venturing out to like the US and Europe. And I'm trying to keep as much as I can on UK soil.
Yes.
More just because it's easier to control like carbon footprint things, and also with the rules changing around Brexit and things like that, then we obviously have import tax and things now to contend with as well.
Of course.
So yeah, it makes it a lot easier. I can stick to the UK, I can stick to, I also want to, sorry, kind of going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I buy from Ambo, which Dashwood Studio. And one of the things I really enjoyed doing last year was they use British or UK surface pattern designers. And one of the things I really enjoyed doing last year was I reached out to some of the designers of the fabric, and I worked with them
Oh, really?
to create personalized bundles to then put on the shop, because essentially what I wanted to do was I wanted to introduce customers that like the designs. I wanted to say, you know, these are the people behind the designs. You might really like their artwork as well, because they do more than just design your fabric. They also, like B Brown, I worked with last year, and she worked with me and provided these gorgeous wooden pins. And I also worked with Stephanie Thanhauser, I think that's how you pronounce her surname. And she was brilliant in that she had designed, or she drew up for me, these DIY Frida Kahlo dolls. I'll just get my one.
Really? Okay, let's have a look at that.
Yeah. It was brilliant. And it said, so here they are. Oh,
Ah, I think I've seen, yeah. And do you
Yeah.
sell these kits in your store as well?
Yeah, I mean this kit is sold out. I still have some of the dolls,
Yeah.
so I might sell them separately.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she put that together and it went really lovely with her Fiesta fabric that she brought out with Dashwood. And then I worked with Sarah Knight from Knight and Grey with her Nightfall collection. She brought out an absolutely gorgeous embroidery set that it's featured her moths on there, but she designed the whole thing, she sourced everything, she sourced it all from ethical brands and everything, like the effort that she put into these kits. So it was absolutely like I feel privileged to work with these people. Like I feel like I'm working with like rock stars, you know. So it's lovely to be able to put it together. And I'm hoping I'll be able to do it again this year and make it bigger and better. But yeah, so that's just, you know, that's some of the conscious decisions that I make with who I work with, because it's just a nice idea to be able to introduce people to the people behind your fabric, you
Definitely,
know.
definitely. I
Yeah.
think similarly with these interviews, what I'm trying to do as well is introduce the customers, your customers and my sort of followers to the people behind the fabric stores. And I was saying actually, it's odd that when I know the person or I've seen the person's face that owns that store, I'm more likely to buy from their store somehow rather than, I don't know, say Minerva, for example, because I don't know who owns that store and I've not seen them. So I think it is really nice just to see that, you know, you are human, you know, you are mum
Yeah.
like most of us, and yet you know
Yeah.
you're doing a wonderful job with your store. Just whilst we're here, because you've got your lovely fabric behind you, do you mind giving us a quick, I don't know if you're able to, like a quick tour or a quick of your just the fabric there or
Yeah, if you'd like to.
oh please, yes.
Yeah.
So what have we got behind you?
So I'll see if I can like lift you up so you can see all this end of the room is the fabric end, and so this is the nice tidy area. Over that side is my sewing end, so we're not going down that end. But these fabrics here, yeah, you can see those. So they came in yesterday.
Uh-huh.
These are from, and there's a couple over here as well. They're from the Willow collection from Art Gallery Fabric. So I try and keep a bit of a system in that this whole layer here
Mhm.
is quilting fabrics
Uh-huh.
predominantly, and then we've got up here. So this has got at the moment it's a little bit disorganized because I've got to get some of these online still. So I've got this gorgeous corduroy that's just come in from Dashwood,
Lovely.
brand new. I need to get that on. But mostly this is jersey up here.
Uh-huh.
And then that's a little bit more Dashwood because I've got a serious problem with quilting cottons. And then down here we've got, oh, hang on, sorry, excuse me. There we go. So we've got some cotton lawns. So you can see some Art Gallery fabrics are in here.
Uh-huh.
We've got some double gauze in here as well. I hope you can
I've
see this
seen that in
okay.
your shop. That's on sale at the moment, isn't it? I had my eye on
It
that.
is, yeah. And over here we've got some stretch cotton sateen. So basically at the beginning of the year, I set out a plan for what I wanted to do with fabrics. I wanted to have fun patterns, bold solids, and sophisticated soft tones.
Oh.
And yeah, so that's kind of like where the blog was going with that. So I still need to build on it, but that's why we've got these like really gorgeous brights here, because I don't know about you, but I've seen some of the stuff people make with bright fabrics and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got some fabric godmother up here. We've got more Art Gallery rayons. We've got can you see this?
Lady,
Oh, there we go.
Lady McElroy.
Yeah, Cobra Corsage, love that. I'm actually making a wilder gown out of that at the
Wow,
moment.
that would look nice.
Yeah, so and then yeah, so there's more, there's just fabric everywhere basically.
And you do obviously notions and everything else as well. You don't do patterns at the moment, do you?
No,
Are you going to
I
do
don't.
that or not really?
I do want to. I think part of it is at the moment I really like zero waste patterns. I love indie patterns. I
Yeah,
do. I mean,
definitely.
everybody loves.
Yes.
Everybody should love indie patterns.
Mm.
But I especially love zero waste patterns because they're so clever. And also it's great, obviously, for the environment and just you know, not always zero waste, but minimal waste of
Yeah.
fabric as well.
Mm.
But a lot of those patterns aren't printed.
Mm.
They're PDFs and stuff like that. And I know obviously you can, like Fabric Godmother does Birgitta Helmersson's zero waste ones. So I know that you can get involved with it, but I just haven't started that conversation yet.
Mm.
So I think if and when we go down the pattern road, it will probably be that I try and go down the zero waste, minimal waste option. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I
Yeah.
have seen a couple on Instagram actually with regards to these zero waste patterns, but it's not really as popular as it should be. Well, from what I'm seeing on my feed anyway, I don't see it that often. So it would be nice if there was more of a
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there definitely is definitely a conversation that needs to be talked about more. And it's funny because I think it's still gaining quite a lot of traction. Because actually I do stock Liz Haywood's book, Zero Waste. I know it's obviously mirror imaged, but Zero Waste Sewing. And in here actually I'll read to you that there's 16 wearable projects in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just laid out the same as if you were to download the PDFs online.
Yes.
But you can't get these ones online. They're not she wrote these especially for the book. And I will go to the pictures. So I'll see if you can see what's in here. So there's tops, there's some gorgeous coats as well and robes, and I think it's this dress I
Yes.
started to work on. It's one of my UFOs. But they're absolutely gorgeous patterns. And it's not always like, I think the other thing is that people have this idea about zero waste projects, they're not very fitted. And that can be true for some patterns, but there's also more and more patterns coming out all the time. Like Liz actually brought out some culottes recently, and I really hope I'm saying her name correctly, but Birgitta Helmersson. She also did trousers recently, and she's made some really beautiful tops as well. So it is constantly evolving, I think, because although it isn't as mainstream as it would be great for it to be, because the interest is building, people are putting more time and effort into it, and it is growing. There's also, if anybody is interested, there's also a really good Instagram account to follow. I think I'll have to message it to you because it's something like
and I'll put all the details down in the description with that book as well.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you afterwards and we'll get all the details down at the bottom of the video as well. No, but that is very interesting because I found as well, with my love of sewing, I'm making all these clothes. I've got all these, you know, sort of, what is it called? The offcuts and the remnants. What do you do with them? And then sometimes also it's like sort of clothes that maybe you don't like how it turned out, and you know, what do you do with them? And you know, charity shop or what, you know. And I think becoming a bit more, people are, and also like our fabric stash as well, isn't it? In the house, it's just like so much fabric. Like we really need to be, you know, using them consciously and stuff. But no, I understand your plight, as it were.
I think it's really difficult though to be conscious about your fabric stash. Like at least personally, that's how I feel. Like that, I really admire people that have a shopping list when they go fabric shopping. Because for me, I get drawn to fabric first and then I sew something, rather than it being a case of, oh, I've got this pattern in mind and I need to go and find some fabric for it. So Yeah, it's
I am trying
definitely.
to do that now, actually. Well, I say this, I haven't started yet, but going forward, I think my plan should be I should only buy for a project that I'm actually going to start sort of this week or next week. Because what I found is I bought fabric and I'm I'm going to make this, I'm going to make this, I'm going to make this. I bring it home, I get distracted by another pattern or another fabric, and then it just gets left. And then before you know it, you've got a fabric stash that you loved back then. Now it's just sort of lingering there. Anyhow, when do you get time to sew, Kayleigh, for yourself or for the children? When you a nighttime sewist?
Oh, definitely nighttime. Sometimes I can squeeze in a sewing day if I say to Chris, I need some time to sew. I need some me time. He is really good like that. I am very lucky, I know, but mostly it will be a case of nighttime sewing and ignoring the fact that it's gone way past midnight, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get this hem done.
I'm like that as well. My sewing time is probably from about 9 p.m. to about midnight. I can stretch that if I want to wear the garment the next day, so I will go for an extra hour. But yeah, I think same when the children are in bed, that's your time, quiet time to
Definitely.
just done, rather than sitting in front of the telly not doing very much. Can I ask, what's your least favorite sewing task?
Ironing. So I did
before or during? As in, do you iron
during. So as in like collars and things, when you have to, the really fiddly ironing. And like this top is all French seamed as well.
Well, you do it to yourself.
Well, okay, so this was actually one that I sewed at a workshop. So I didn't actually choose that, and I didn't realize until I was there. Obviously, I could have just done straightforward seams and everything, but you're in a workshop, you should definitely,
of course,
go with what everybody else is doing. But yeah, so that was painful, definitely.
But it is a beautiful finish, isn't it? You could probably wear it inside out if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. It's really lovely, and also like this is a cotton lawn, so it's great for something like that, because obviously it can be quite a delicate fabric on the edges, on the raw edges. So it does make sense. But yes, ironing or pressing seams and things, well, no, I don't really like doing that.
Don't do that, no problem. And what do you have a favorite make to date, or is it always the latest project is your favorite make?
No, I think my favorite make would probably be the zero waist gathered dress by Hamilton. Yeah, I just love it. It's so comfy. It's one of those dresses that I can just throw on, and it's quite, because the fabric was quite wide, it is quite big, but I tend to put a belt around it if I want it to look nice and fitted. Yeah. So, but if I just want to feel like I'm walking around in a duvet for a day, everybody gets those sorts of days, don't they? I put it on and it's so comfy. It's just like secret pajamas. Great.
Excellent. I'm actually beginning to embrace sort of more looser fitting clothes as well. I think a couple of years ago, up and from when I was young, I've always wanted sort of fitted clothes, cinch in the waist. So now I just think, you know what, I don't really care anymore. Like, you don't have to wear fitted clothes all the time. Just be comfortable and happy with your figure, happy with what you look like and everything else. And I think why not wear a baggy dress if you want to wear a baggy dress?
Definitely. And again, I think like that comes back possibly for me, definitely. I don't know about you, but Instagram, again, it's like everybody's embracing their own style, and I think it gives you the confidence to try different things and maybe wear things or make things that you wouldn't have otherwise considered, and you actually discover, oh, actually I really like this style. And you just find a new confidence in a style, I think, sometimes.
Definitely. You mentioned have you made your Wilder gown in the McElroy yet?
I haven't finished it. You know what I've got to do? I've got to get the iron out.
That's why.
So that's why it's just sitting there, basically. So yeah,
I've got that pattern as well, but I was just, when I got it probably about a year ago, but I was just so scared with this dress being so baggy and so, and that's really just stopped me from doing it. And I just thought, well, you know what, I'm going to get that pattern pattern out and I'm going to make myself that baggy dress.
Yeah, you
It's not a
look
baggy
gorgeous
dress, is
in
it?
it.
It's a buffet dress.
It is a buffet dress. It should be worn at a buffet so you can eat as much as you like. But what have you got a fabric that you've chosen for it, or are you still, is that on the shopping list to do?
No, so I've got just some various viscose because you need quite a lot, don't you? Like 4 meters of it or something.
Yeah, it's quite a lot for the big dress.
Yeah.
And so the one that I'm doing out of the Cobra Corsage is the short dress.
Dress, yeah.
Yeah, and I have also got some fabric for the long dress.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, but I've gone for I think both of them are actually cotton lawn. So it's, I think because it's such a big dress, you want something that, like as you say, like a viscose or like lawn sort of style, so that it's not too heavy.
Definitely.
But I was just wondering, because I thought, oh, maybe if you went for more of like a shearer fabric, then you could wear something that's more figure hugging underneath, and then have that silhouette coming through, but you still get to enjoy your gorgeous buffet dress.
That's really so when you
top.
say shearer, you're talking more like chiffons and that sort of thing, or
Yeah, or
I've never sewn with chiffon. I'm too scared because I just think it's too fine.
yeah, so I gotta be honest, that's me trying to like push you into doing something that
Yeah.
I'm enough to do.
Oh yeah.
But I have looked at like voiles and stuff. I haven't bought any in. There's so many that I would love to get from like Lady McElroy and stuff. There's some absolutely beautiful designs, really beautiful florals and abstracts that I'd really love to get in. And I think that would be perfect for something like that, where you can see the pattern of the fabric, but you can still see the silhouette that's underneath.
Yeah.
I think it would just give that really nice, like if you want to show off your figure, but similarly you want to enjoy this beautiful dress that you appreciate, and also that you've sewn yourself. So it's like a win-win.
That's a great idea, actually. That's actually a nice compromise between the two. Can I ask, Kayleigh, do you have a favorite fabric base? What do you, I mean, for you personally, not for your store, sort of, what do you buy for yourself?
So probably cotton really. So quilting cotton is the number one, because it's mainly for the designs that come on them. They always have the most fun, beautiful designs by, surface pattern designers that you find do other artworks and stuff like that. So for me, I suppose it comes as an art aspect.
Yes.
And then to actually sew
cottons for yourself or for the children.
Pardon, sorry, I cut out a little bit there.
Sorry, what do you sew with your quilting? What do you make your quilting cottons up into?
So really it varies. So I started getting into sewing properly from doing more crafty projects actually.
Okay.
So started with just like the small sort of bits like bucket hats and everybody obviously did face masks when we went through all of that and stuff like that, and before that, just little I can't even remember, just little purses and things like that. And then from there I've done a few quilts for family members. Like my cousin's little girl had her christening the end of last year, and I made her a quilt that I backed onto the fleece from my granddad, who passed away quite a few years ago. But it's nice because he would have been her great granddad, and obviously because he can't meet her, I was like, well, he can still essentially cuddle her through the quilt. So I did this nice quilt on there. So just odds and sods.
Cotton and quilting cotton because of the designs, as it were. That's nice.
Yeah.
What's your worst fabric base? Do you have one, or do you love all fabric?
No, I do have a worst fabric base that I really don't like. Well, it's not I don't like it, it's just it's tricky. Is viscose jersey crepe.
So I hate viscose jersey crepe.
Yeah.
But yeah. I just don't like the feel of it on my skin. I don't know.
I don't like crepe. I
Okay.
don't like, but the viscose jersey crepe is different in the sense, like for me personally,
Yes.
in that doesn't have as much of the scratchiness, because it's got that stretch, because it's got that little bit of softness in it. But sewing with it was just,
Oh, really?
it wasn't fun.
Was it?
I probably also because it was one of those things like, I haven't sewn in at least 2 weeks. I need to get some sewing in.
Yeah.
And when you've got one of those projects and you just want to finish it.
Yeah.
But I was really kind of reluctant to say something about it on here because the fabric was from this shop. So,
Oh, no.
but
Yeah.
but the thing is, I mean, it's sold, and I did sew up my top, and I'm very proud of the top, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
But sewing it up, it was just the fabric kept on getting caught in the dog feed at the bottom,
Yeah.
kept on getting screwed up. And I think it's just because it's quite thin as well.
It
It
yeah.
wasn't fun.
Anyway,
It wasn't
it wasn't fun. With regards to prints, what's your favorite print? What kind of prints do you go for?
fun.
You are very artist. You quite like all the artists sort of prints, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'm just having a look. I just like really bold prints, really.
Bold prints, yeah.
Yeah.
And your least favorite print, what do you try and avoid for yourself?
Oh, do you know what? I really don't like sort of like, not chintz, but old-fashioned looking, like I like old-fashioned
When it's
when
nice,
it's
old fashioned.
fashionable, yeah. But when you find certain quilting cottons and you're like, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
no.
that's my least favorite. Yeah.
Ah, can I ask, because you obviously have your own fabric store, do you have your own personal fabric stash, or is your store your stash, as it were? You can just choose, what do I fancy today?
Both.
How lucky.
I try not to delve into the shop too much. It helps, obviously it does help to sew with stuff from the shop because you can show off your fabric.
Advertising,
So
yeah.
that's right. Yeah. But no, I do have a fabric stash. Yeah, I'm not going to show it to you
You're
because it's a
embarrassed,
bit
aren't you, by the size of your stash?
Oh, yeah, I am actually, because when I saw the question, I was like, And originally I was like, oh yeah, I've just got one calyx. And then when I looked around the room, I was like, actually, I've got two calyxes. And then I've got a box over there of washed fabrics. I've got a box down there of cut patterns ready to go.
Yeah.
And then I've got a pile of my quilting cottons over there with a very precarious pile on top of that of projects that I've got planned, but they're not cut at all or anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I can't show any of this stuff off. This cannot.
But it's
Yeah.
good. It's all for the benefit of your business as well, isn't it? So it's quite nice because you can tie in your hobby with your business, and you can say, yeah, I'm working really hard here.
Yeah, there's some music or the background audio to a reel at the moment. It's like it says something like, I am working, I am, and I'm like, I could do this for so many things, like shopping for fabric. I'm working, I am working.
You are actually working, which is great. It's absolutely great. So what can I ask, what's the last fabric store you bought from, and what did you buy? Like, who do you go to? Who are your go-to fabric stores? Your
I do.
personal stash.
So I actually shop online predominantly because we don't have that many good physical shops near me. I've got a local one in town, which is a small Franklin's, and I do go in there for just little bits like threads, and if I really need a certain fabric, then I'll see if they've got it first.
Yes.
I like the ladies that are in there, so I go in there and have a little bit of chat. But the last shop that I bought from was the rag shop. Because at least I think it was. It was only the other day, but anything could have happened since then. I might have bought some more. But I watched Emma from So Do It Emma.
Yes.
Her most recent vlog, and she was wearing her patina blouse, and I'd forgotten that I wanted that fabric, and I saw her wearing it, and she got the link to it, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll go and get some of that. Yeah, so I feel
Emma's
like,
lovely. I have actually got an interview of hers up on my channel if you fancy watching it.
yeah, I
Um,
do need to watch it. Yeah,
yeah, no,
definitely.
she's great, isn't she?
Yeah.
And what's the most expensive piece of fabric you own? Not in your shop yourself.
They're the same, aren't they? Oh, I'm not. Do you know? I forgot to even look into this. Hang on. I'm not sure. I know that I do own some expensive fabric, but I on it. Well, I got some. I don't know if you could really say it's expensive. I mean, it depends on what your budget is, but
Yeah,
I got some nanny. Yeah, nanny
Nanny Eero.
Iro,
Yeah,
nanny
lovely.
Iro. Sorry, yeah.
No, I don't know.
Um,
I think it's Eero. Could be Iro. Could be. That's.
I
I've seen
honestly,
that loads of places with different
yeah,
colorways.
yeah. So this is from Emma's for Make, who are my go-to for quilting cottons typically, like for my personal stash. If
Oh.
I don't have it, yeah.
Yeah.
um but yeah, so but she's had Nanny Hero for ages, and it's always that fabric that I'm like, oh, I really love it, but to get it by the meter is so expensive.
Yeah.
But she did have a sale on recently, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna
The
jump
only
on
thing
that
with
now.
that fabric is how, because obviously it's kind of like a border print, as it were, isn't it? So it's kind of,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
do you have plans for it?
I think what I'm going to try and do is make a quilted vest with it. Like, sorry, there you go.
Yeah.
See if you can see it. So the hinterland dress, it's going to sound really bad now, but my brain has gone blank. But the lady that is the pattern writer for the hinterland dress, she shared on her Instagram that
Is
she
the
had.
hinterland so liberated? Is it so liberated?
That's it. Yeah. Sorry. I've got I have so many patterns. And I just it all kind of like merges in. So I should have written it down. But she shared that she'd done a hack of her hinterland dress, the top part. She'd hacked it into a quilted vest. And it's really cool. You should check it out on her Instagram.
I'd love to, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got the hinterland pattern. I haven't yet made it, but I've got the pattern and it is printed, so I am going to cut it out and try and do a quilted vest for that, because I haven't got a lot of fabric, so I'm hoping that I've got enough just to do a really cute quilted
And
vest.
quilted vests are so in at the moment, aren't they? All this quilting everywhere.
Yeah.
I do want to go, but there's so many things, like you just get especially with Instagram, you get distracted by all these wonderful makes, all these new patterns, new fabrics. You just, I want to make that, but then you just have to kind of, let's just finish this project first and then move on to the next one. And but it's exciting. It's all fun and games, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. It's really, really good. But I'm completely with you. I definitely get whisked away as soon as there's a new pattern coming.
I know,
yeah.
So funny how we're moaning, aren't we? This is like first world problems. It's like, oh,
it
there's a new
is.
pattern. Now I can't do the other pattern I wanted.
What am I going to do? Yeah.
Poor us. So talking about patterns, do you have a favorite pattern? Do you have one that you keep going back to, or that you've made many of, or?
Not at the moment, because I've got so many that I've got to get through. There's a box up there that I've very tactfully put out of shop. It is full of, I went to CLC Essex. I like them for my printing.
Yes,
I treated myself to a lot of patterns because I had quite a few building up, and it's literally a wedge like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I sat down one night. I was like, I'm going to cut all of these up. I didn't.
Sewing bee.
Yeah, that's it. And then I got through, like I then tactfully went through and found all the bits that just had like 1 pages, and then 2 pages, and then the ones that were like quite a few pages, lots of bits, I was like, okay, they can wait for another night. So they're all up there. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, I do want to make another. I've got 2 wilder gowns, one that I'm currently making, one that I've got planned. The second one I've got planned, that's it. And the second one that I've got planned is actually for a wedding this year, so I need to do it. it has to happen.
Yes.
And the zero waste gather dress, I have got fabric that I've specifically bought because I really like it. And I actually find that okay, so there probably is one. So it's the cropped shirt, zero waste crop shirt. I go back to that because you only need a meter of fabric, and
Wow.
it's so good because if you just have a bit of a budget, like maybe for, especially now, like we have to be obviously a bit more careful of what we're spending and stuff like that with price costs and stuff like that. I just find that it's my happy little compromise of like, okay, this fabric is gorgeous. I'm going to get a meter of it and I can make a shirt out of it. I know I can make a shirt out of it and it'll be a
Amazing.
nice shirt. And
You'll have to
yeah,
share that pattern with me, and I can link it down for everybody, because I
yeah,
always think people love a pattern that's 1 meter, because you can shop in remnant parts of stores,
that's it.
online stores, and also
Exactly.
if you fancy something like a really expensive piece of fabric, 1 meter isn't too bad. But if you're thinking I need to get 3 meters, you just think, well, I can't afford that fabric because I
Yeah,
can't afford 3 meters.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. And it's great because also, on top of the fact that you obviously get the PDF pattern, there's so many hacks and tutorials on Berkata Helmson's website as well that she does. So you can make more of a gathered sleeve or a crop
Oh, that's
sleeve or
amazing.
pockets or no pockets. Like there's lots of options. So, and all still for, it might even just be like, oh, if you've got a slightly wider piece of fabric, then you can kind of change around the placements and things like that. It's really good. Really, really
So now you've
good.
distracted me from another. I'm going to look into that pattern now.
Yay!
So just quickly, do you have any other hobbies? Do you have time for any other hobbies, or are you sort of mummy and your sewing business and your partner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you've got time for.
Yeah, mostly that is what I have time for, but I collect hobbies, I think, as
Oh,
well. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I love stationery.
oh, do you?
I love
Oh.
well, I love
You love the
the pure.
artwork, presumably, as well.
It is the artwork. It's always the
Oh,
artwork, isn't it? And yeah, and then I have painting and drawing and stuff that yeah, it's kind of like whatever takes my fancy. Sometimes if it's the case that I've only got like half an hour, then I might do a quick biro sketch or something just to
oh
kind of
wow.
like get it down. But like, yeah, I have a few things, but my main sort of thing is sewing. I love just being able to make something I can wear. It's just great.
Exactly. What does
Mm.
sewing mean to you? Like generally, what does it mean to you?
It's it's my personality, you know.
Lovely.
Like you can the okay, somebody else designed the fabric. Maybe one day I'll design the fabric, but in the meantime, there's so much fabric to enjoy. And I get to wear somebody else's artwork, but I've also made it into something for me to wear.
Yeah.
And it's so personal in that respect. You and I might sew something in the same fabric, but we probably won't choose the same pattern, or we might choose the same pattern, but we won't choose the same fabric. And so we've still made two completely unique to us garments, and we've done that on our own journey, as it were, as well. We've sworn at it in our own way and had to crack out the seam ripper in different in different points and stuff. So
I
yeah,
totally agree. That's the beauty of sewing. I totally agree.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
thank you very much, Kayleigh, for talking with us. Do you think you could offer our viewers a discount from your store, perhaps?
Yes.
Oh,
So
lovely. Thank you,
yeah. So if they use the code Crystal,
Crystal. I'll write that
very simple. I just thought, nice and easy to remember for me. Uh, and it'll be 15% off for all of May.
down.
So yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much, Kayleigh. And just to say to my viewers, Kayleigh is also, Fleur at Hers is also one of the sponsors for Selfless Sew April. And the reveal date for that is this coming Saturday, the 30th of April. So we are looking forward to your makes. Thank you so much, Kayleigh, for your time. Everything that we've spoken about, if there's books or patterns or garments that Kayleigh has spoken about, I will get the information of her and put the links below. Hopefully she can give me some photos as well of that dress, your favorite make that you were talking about, so we can put that up and show everybody. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you again, Kayleigh, for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.